know, Pat Murphy said that you're an integral part of what will happen in the postseason in this role, because like Wade Miley, like Brandon Woodruff, you're bringing a lot to the table. You're still the leader of this ball club. What is that transition going to be like? I'm sure you're already doing some of that. We saw you having a conversation back on the homestand, but what is that part of it like for you? What's your intention with that?
Yeah, just to help these guys any way I can. You know, they've done a great job. They're really talented players, but you know, you've seen the game for a really long time, and you just try to get these guys to slow it down as much as you can, especially when you're a young player. Like, the game tends to speed up, situations kind of speed up, and if you give them a good perspective and what to look for in certain situations, like what's a good play. You know, Sal tried to bunt there, 0-0, which is, you know, against a kind of a tough lefty like this, is not a bad play, especially when he can run, and you create chaos right there. There's a lot of hits out there for a guy like Sal, so just little things like that.
Yeah, you hinted situational awareness. How many times have we seen you walk over to the dugout, maybe there's a pitching change, and you're saying something, you're looking at an iPad, and then suddenly you're laying down a big bunt? Or you're like, hey, the catcher's dropping to a knee, he's lobbing the ball back to the pitcher, and then you steal home. Yeah. You see the game in like fourth dimensionally, and now you get to, you know, sprinkle that on guys. We saw you talking to them about bunting the other day. Share some of the things that you're able to help out with these guys, maybe not just individually, but also as a group. Yeah, I mean, with the bunting thing is, you know, when I came up with the Marlins and the Marlins system, you know, it was still kind of old school National League baseball. So there's a lot of the pitchers and all that had to learn how to bunt. And then I was hitting at the top of the order, first or second a lot of the times. And there was a lot of sack bunt situations there. And you were kind of expected to be able to, you know, when they gave you that sign, you needed to get the bunt down, whether it was the first or the third. And the two guys that had a huge impact on my career bunting wise was Juan Pierre and Brett Butler. And spring training, every spring training and throughout the season would be early work, bunting on the half field, and learning from those guys how to do it. And I remember having like a bruise on my top hand from so many machine balls off the bat. But the key with bunting, you know, in any situation is like, take your time. Like, whether you're bunting for a hit, you're sack bunting, they should both feel the same. Like the tempo, everything should feel like, I'm going so slow right now, I've squared so early. But then you watch it back on film and it's fast. But that's what you kind of need, because when things go south for you bunting, it's because you kind of rushed it or you tried to run out of the box before you saw the ball down. And the biggest thing with bunting and bunting for a hit is really placement over anything. Especially when these guys are so fast. You know, Sal, Garrett, Jackson, Bryce, like if they get the ball down in the right spot and where they want to do it, then it's really going to be a hit for them, no matter if the infield's in or not. Because even when guys are playing in, or it appears in, and like the third baseman's kind of like where the cut is here for us, like shifted into the 5-6 hole, if you get the bunt down and you execute it and you put it where you want to, like there's probably one or two guys in the game that probably have the arm strength to run towards the foul line and throw it to first. They're kind of like up there as a deterrent because it looks scary that they're like in there, but they're really not.
That's a great point.
And,
I love that.
I love the perspective that
I
you
feel
give
like
these young
Bryce
guys.
Terang had like exactly what you're talking about yesterday.
Yeah, and that's
there was a lefty on the mound, but it was the slow, the methodical, seeing the game where the position players are lined up, and you know, he did it twice actually. And it's almost exactly what you're saying right now.
Right. So with bunting, it's like you want to set your angle early, like whether you want to go to third or you want to go to first, and you're really just catching the ball. Like you want to think like you have like a lacrosse stick in your hand, and you're just trying to catch the ball. You don't want to stab at it. You don't want to do anything. So you want your bat, your barrel, everything in front of the plate, and then wherever you set your angle, whether that's to first, to third, you just catch it. You don't want to stab at it because you don't want to bunt it too hard, or that's when you pop it up. And then you don't want to start running out of the box before you've seen the ball on the ground. So you want to catch it, see the ball hit the ground, then you run. And it feels like it's slow motion, but it's really not in the game. You watch it back and it's fast speed, but like that's how you should think about it in your head with bunting.
I love it.
There's so many people so happy right now. I know. Bunting conversation. It's the first bunting conversation we've had all year.
People are going to be like, why don't you ask about home runs?
Home runs.
No, because this is outcomes. This is a part of the game now, right? I mean, some of the rules and especially the Brewers dynamic of having all these fast guys, creating that chaos. Go back to Garrett Mitchell yesterday. He was sacked bunting, got on because of an error, but at the same time, that creates problems for a pitcher. Just like last inning with walks. I feel like you are attacking the team, the pitcher, everybody on all fronts. It's not just swing for the fence. It's everything included.
Right. Well, what we've tried to do is identify like our strengths as a team and as an offense and like as players, right? And you try to, use those strengths to your advantage. You have to identify like who you are individually, who we are as a team, and how are we going to leverage those strengths in order to give ourselves the best chance to win. What's our plan of attack? And really it's about executing. Like in games that we've won, we've executed at a high level. And games that we've lost, most of the time it's been because we just didn't execute. Like that's going to happen in baseball. You're not going to be able to execute every time, but we've been in most games. Like very rarely have we been blown out this year. Like that's also going to happen over the course of a year, but we've been in a lot of the games. And so our focus down the stretch is kind of like, hey guys, like let's focus on executing. Let's focus on the fundamentals, doing things that we need to do. And you know, we kind of saw that here in the first 2 innings. Of like when we can do stuff like that, we're a really dangerous team. And, especially the more as these guys play together.
Ortiz into right field. And Carroll makes a play. Now you've sent me down a rabbit hole. So I have 2 questions for you. Number one, so the double steal is a big part of the Brewers game.
Yeah.
The first and third situation. We saw that earlier tonight. I don't ever remember seeing a pitcher cut off a ball and throw to third base.
Yeah. That might have been some advanced scouting from them, which is a good job because they're very similar to how we play. You know, the Diamondbacks have, you know, kind of have similar players and they play the game a similar way to us. But, you know, that was one of those where, you know, they just executed really well and they got you. But you're going to get got sometimes with that stuff. But we've seen it play out in our favor a lot. And it's something that we've worked on since the first day of spring training and continue to talk about as the year goes on. And that's going to be one of those things that we've all been together for quite some time. And the more that we play together as a group, the better it's going to be.
All right, hang around.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I'm having a great time now. Just had a whole inning of bunting. Finally, I'm having a good time, Tim.